Welcome guys, this is the second half of our Easter series. If you haven't seen the first video, then go and watch it now, the link's below. In the last video we were thinking about the idea of people sacrificing their own lives to save others. As well as a couple of real life examples of heroism, we also thought about films that have had this theme.
Now, it's really strange, but the film industry has had a fascination with this idea for a long time now. I wonder if you have thought of any other films, or maybe even books, that have someone sacrificing themselves as a main plot point. So, did you decide to go and rewatch one of the films we mentioned last week? Did you put yourself in the shoes of the characters? Maybe the one who is sacrificing themselves, or maybe the one who was saved.
When you read the account of Jesus' life in the Bible, it's always good to try and put yourself in the shoes of those Jesus met. Imagining you're one of the disciples, listening in and watching what Jesus did. I'm sitting in a tent right now in our back garden, probably the closest I'll get to going on holiday this year. I find I can read my Bible a lot better when I can get away from distractions. I love the fact that when I read the New Testament, the disciples come across in such a real way. They don't always get it right. They make mistakes. They weren't all super spiritual priests. They were everyday people, just like us.
When we asked you in the first video to have a think about what it meant to you that Jesus' death on the cross was an act of sacrifice, you might have been left wondering, well, what exactly was Jesus' sacrifice? And what did it mean? Well, the Bible teaches that Jesus is in fact God himself, and that Jesus, God the Son, chose to leave heaven and come to earth in human form, an event we celebrate at Christmas. The Bible shows that this was a rescue mission, with Jesus as this hero-like figure arriving to save us out of the mess that we had got ourselves into through our selfish wrongdoing and our rejection of God, the loving and good Creator. The Bible calls this sin, and it says that everyone has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Now, God has no sin or evil in him. He is good and perfect. God is perfect in his justice.
Imagine a judge who is in a courtroom, who always makes the right decision of whether someone is guilty or innocent. Being a perfect judge, God cannot ignore people's sins. There has to be consequences. The Bible teaches that the main consequence of sin is that it separates people from God. We also see in the Bible that Jesus' whole life was an act of obedience and sacrifice to God the Father, a life marked by acts of selfless love and kindness to all he met. Jesus led a perfect life, and he did no wrong. His death on the cross was not deserved, but he willingly gave up his life in the place of us. He swapped places with us.
Jesus faced the consequences that we deserved. He faced the justice from God the Father, this perfect judge-like figure. In some way, Jesus experienced something of separation from God the Father, and Jesus did all of this so that all who believe and trust in him can be forgiven. This means that if you turn from your sin and ask Jesus to rescue you, then you can be brought back into right relationship with God. Christians can be confident Jesus was able to do this because he rose from the dead, he was resurrected, and he even defeated death itself. This means that if you are a follower of Jesus, you don't need to fear death, as it will bring you into the presence of Jesus in heaven.
In the Gospel of John, we can read two amazing statements. In the first one, Jesus said, "Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends." Jesus also said that no one takes it from me. That's his life he is talking about. But I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again. It says elsewhere in the New Testament by the Apostle John that this is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters.
Now, you can see here that we are called to also lay down our lives for others as an act of love, just as Jesus did. The phrase laying down our lives here is about how we should live a life of self-sacrifice rather than living for our selfish desires. In his letter to the Philippians, the Apostle Paul writes these challenging words to the Christians there, saying, "In humility, value others above yourselves. not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interest of others. We should do this out of love and worship to our God, the Creator.
Think back to Maximilian Kolbe, who gave his life for a fellow prisoner. You can see him here. Let's call him Francis, shall we? Just look at the dates that both men died. Francis was actually rescued from the camp, and he went on to live for another 54 years. Now, can you imagine how grateful he was to Kolbe? How much more should we be grateful to God for all he has done for us? Jesus swapped places with us, and so we worship him and we give our lives to him.
This message of selflessness and living in a self-sacrificial way is surely needed now more than ever before. With so many of us currently stuck at home, the temptation is there to just satisfy our own selfish desires. Do we have enough food? Do we have enough toilet roll? Do we have something new to watch on Netflix? It's so easy to get sucked into this me mentality rather than thinking about the needs of others. I wonder whether the old lady across the road needs some shopping. My friend isn't chatting currently much on WhatsApp. Maybe I should phone him and actually speak to him. Obviously, we need to be making sure that we are sticking to the latest government guidelines on social distancing. So maybe have a chat with those in your homes about ways that you could help those around you in a safe way.
So, we want to leave you with this challenge. Try spending the next week living in a self-sacrificial way. And I don't mean helping someone when it's convenient for you, so that you can say you've done your good deed for the day. But do it when it's not convenient. When you have to stop doing something you enjoy. Try it and see how it feels. Ask the Holy Spirit to lead you to the right people who need to be shown God's love during that week.
Well guys, we hope you found these videos useful. If anything, we enjoyed making them. Please like and comment and make sure we get some feedback. And do make sure that you keep in touch. Follow our social media pages, and over the next few weeks look out for more resources and ways to grow in your faith. For those of you who wouldn't say you're a Christian but are curious and might have questions, then also look out for videos and stuff that will help you explore who Jesus is and find out the difference he can make in your life. We hope that Fulfill will be back in some form before the year's over. So until then, we hope to see you soon in the near future.